Hello everyone, and welcome to my journey into breeding green tree pythons. For this first attempt, I'll be working with two Biaks. Please note, this is not a how-to video, but rather a personal step-by-step log of my process. I'll do my best to provide as many details as possible and share regular updates, leading up to, hopefully, a successful hatching. The first step was to induce the breeding season by gradually lowering the nighttime temperatures, a process known as thermal cycling. I'm using a controller that regulates both temperature and humidity, which makes the process straightforward. Over a 4-week period, I gradually lowered the night temperatures in both enclosures by about 1 to 2 degrees at a time, until I reached the target of 72 degrees Fahrenheit, or 22 degrees Celsius. You can see the progression on this chart. These cooler nights will be maintained throughout the breeding season, up until ovulation. Once ovulation occurs, 24-hour heat will be restored. After cycling for 4 weeks, it was time to slowly introduce the male into the female's cage. It's always recommended to do this in the late afternoon rather than at dusk, since there's a risk of the female biting the male. One thing to keep in mind is that males typically fast during the breeding period, while females will continue to feed aggressively until they begin developing egg follicles. After I introduced the male, I kept a close eye on them to make sure there weren't any negative interactions. I'll be honest, this step is pretty nerve-wracking, but luckily, these two got along really well from day one. In fact, they paired up that same night and were still locked well into the next morning. A couple of key notes. It's best to introduce the male after the female has completed a shed, since males tend to ignore opaque females. Plus, you don't want your female going into a shed in the middle of the breeding season. And if a pair shows no interest in each other, you can always separate them for a week or two and then reintroduce them, or if you have another male available, try introducing him instead. That's it for part 1 of this journey. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll be uploading updates as often as possible, so don't forget to subscribe to follow along. Feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.